Hi everyone, welcome back. I just noticed that the rules for the Stafford Street Stocks came out today and they got the body rules done. So that means we're back to work. Guys, thank you all so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Please subscribe or at least consider it if you haven't already, because that helps me out a ton, especially when it comes to the algorithms, to ad revenue, to everything, just everything. And like I said, subscribing is free and it doesn't cost you nothing but a couple of seconds to click a mouse or even hit a button on your phone. Whatever the case is, doesn't matter. I do want to start off today by saying I apologize. Now, if anybody else has been on the merch store over at GleasonBrosRacing.com, everything's been going pretty well except for one department. Now, the shirts, the hats, the koozies, the tumblers, pretty much everything in that area has been going really well. Like, the quality is good, the prints are good, everything is coming out well, like it's all good. The only issue I'm still having is stickers. And if you've ordered from the website and you got a sticker, I just got my proof in for a couple of them, and I'm really kind of pissed off. Not for my sake, but for your sake, because this isn't cool. I made these stickers in a very specific way so that they would have the correct setup so that they would fit the entire area and make them as big as humanly possible so that the design would come out properly, right? And that's what they told me to do. The only issue is, when I did that, I put all of the designs to the maximum extents of what they left for me so that, like I said, hopefully it would fit. But I get the thing in, and it's not. And now I'm pretty pissed. Now what I did was I set these up to be 3x4 stickers, okay? And I set the design as wide as humanly possible. I've already said that like 2 or 3 times, because they give me essentially like a box to work out of, and I have to set my design in it and make it as wide as possible so it would fit the dimensions of what they said. Now it's a 3x4 sticker. I know it's not very big, but this one I just got from Stafford. Let's take a look at that one. That is 3 by about, well, 5 really, but we get our drift. It's at least to an extent, right? Now I set my stickers to be 3x4 because that's just one of the options. Let's see here. Yeah, the design is now 2.5 by 3. So I don't know what the hell this company is doing that I'm using for my print-on-demand stuff, but they're shorting you guys like an inch on both sides. What's the deal here? So if you can't tell already, I'm pretty red-faced from being angry and the fact that I've already had a migraine going today. I'm trying to put out decent products for you guys to purchase to help me and support this channel. And when I get the proofs in and the samples and they look like that and I measure them and they're not even close, now I'm angry. And yeah, that's uncool. That's really uncool. So I'm gonna try to make it right. I don't know how to, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just try to make them bigger and just take less profit on the top. You know, there's not really any to have anyway, but I'll just make them the same price, but try to make them bigger so that at least you get something for it. And again, I don't make as much on the top. I'll probably make less money now, but it's the principle of the thing that matters. It's not, you're not getting what is promised, and that is really just kind of where I'm at right now. That's kind of irritating. This is the pitfalls of trying to create this type of thing, and I'm trying to make it out of nothing, and that's really hard to do. And again, I apologize ahead of time, and I'm going to try everything I can to make it right. Like I said, when you're about 85 to 90% positive and this one damn thing is screwing me up, it just makes me mad. But anyway, like I said, koozies came out great. Hats and everything came out great. Anyway, I gotta get to work on this thing. I've only had like one person come and take a look at it since it's been for sale. And if I'm gonna sell it, it's probably gonna be as a Stafford Waterford car anyway. So if I end up doing the work for that person, if they end up buying it, or any person, if they end up buying it, that's kind of half the battle anyway, right? So let's get to work on this thing. I'm gonna go through the front suspension first. I know that sounds weird, but I want to make sure that we have all the springs in the car in the right spot, and we get the ride heights at least close. We don't have any lead in this thing, but we got to get it close so that I can take the measurements that Stafford has posted on their website and in the rule book, and I can translate them to this car, okay? So if we get it at least close, then we can start building it from there, because at least now we have a place to start. Of course. Well, better go outside in the driving rain and get that dug back out again. Of course. It's not even dirt, it's all leaves doing this. There you go. What I wouldn't give for a really nice new shop, you know? And a flashlight. God almighty. Come on. Who built this garage in this specific spot so that literally it's in the hole so everything runs into it? What terrible engineering. Well, since I had to build Noah and Ark, and then gather up 2 of every animal, I think that just cut my night pretty short, because I'm soaked. But, how's the front look? I just walked the completely wrong way, while dripping all over the place. It's receding. At least that's the only thing that's receding around here. That's pretty good. So, yeah, I'm going to go inside and dry off. We did get the rear end in, though. And in is a very loose term. Loose, literally, because every bolt is hand tight. So I have to go through. I got all the control arms on. I got the drive shaft on. Luckily, with this car, I built it exactly like my other car, like a late model, with bulkheads and flex hoses, so you could just take the calipers off and just hang them, instead of like how it is factory, where you run a line to the central point and then you have a flex hose to a bulkhead on the car. This works way better. That's why guys in super late models and late models do this stuff. It works on every car too, so you can do it yourself. But as I'm still continually dripping all over the place, I'm gonna go throw this stuff in the dryer. Actually, I should probably put it in the washing machine first and be a civilized human being. And then I'll go get cleaned up, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh, what a difference a day makes. It is the next day, and instead of it being decently warm and raining, it's now 34 degrees. Anyway, I'm gonna clean up what little crap got in here. I need to find some like foam or something for my front door here. Like, this side ain't so bad. I can tighten this up a little bit. But right there, might as well be a doorway. Oh, gosh dang it. So yeah, I got a big hole down there on the door, and it might as well be a hole for water or mice to get in through. So I wonder if I got any foam in my basement. This is why I put a dehumidifier in my shop. This is also why I need my YouTube channel to take off so I can actually put a nice shop together, even if it's only one bay. Oh well, maybe someday. But I got to get to finishing up the rear. Nothing's tight. And I got to get to the front, make sure the springs are in the right spot so that I can at least throw some kind of semblance of setup at it, get the ride heights close, and then we can start figuring out where all of the body is supposed to hang. And might even start taking the old one off and start getting the new one on. Well, new to us, I guess. It's an old body from another car from around here a while ago, but I'll peel the wrap off of it and stick her on here. We'll see what we got to do to get it to fit, but it's going to be a process. So before I head back there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on the front just because I need to remember what's even in here at this moment. But I also made mention of the parts that I had in the front end of this car. And I said that I have Camaro spindles in it. And I have safety hubs. I think I'd made mention of that either this video or last video. I can't remember. But, oh wow, those rotors are brand new and rusty. And people were like, oh, why do you run those, but you run Impala spindles on your Stafford car? Well, very simple. These are Coleman safety hubs. And what they are is essentially tool steel hubs that do not break. Spindles are really hard to break. Hubs, if you have a stock one, like a brake rotor integrated hub, that's like factory, you can crack around the edge and break those out and be in the wall in 10 seconds pretty easily. So I have these safety hubs on both of my cars. The reason I'm not running the Camaro ones on the Stafford car is very simple. These are Coleman safety hubs. The other ones are Mittler Brothers for an Impala. The Impala ones, the brake rotors, are like $35. These are like 100 and how much? 100 and I forget how much. Probably put a graphic up at the bottom to tell you how much it actually was. But I'm going to take these apart, swap the springs, or at least look at the springs in them. I think they're in backwards, but I don't know. We'll take a look. And I want to get this thing on the ground and start measuring for body braces immediately. But there's a little inside look as to why my thought process is the way it is. If I'm racing part-time, sure, these are no problem. If I'm racing full-time and I'm changing the brakes a lot, that's why I have them on the other car. Yep, I'm glad I looked because I had the springs in backwards, and that's okay. We got her fixed. They're the same color, so I couldn't tell which was which, and I couldn't read the numbers, so whatever. Got her fixed. I'm going to go to the back, start getting nuts and bolts tightened up, throw some springs and shocks back in it, and get it on the ground so that we can start measuring. She's on the ground, and I got the suspension tight a little bit, at least enough. Whatever. So we're going to check frame heights here. It's going to be a little bit artificial because we're not quite where I need to be when it comes to checking frame heights, but ground is the ground. Let's see, we got a lot. That's like 7 1/4. So that's a little too high. Stafford minimum is 6 inches. Let's see, this looks about the same. 8 1/4. All right, so I was wondering about making it the right height by just adjusting it and taking it apart, but that's a lot of time. So I'll just say whatever the front fender height is, it's got to be an inch higher than the minimum. If it's 30 inches, it's got to be like 31. So there's that. Instead of like doing a lot of work, we'll just do math, which we're terrible at. We're really good at work. We're really bad at smarts. So here's the ultimate test. That's 30, which is the bare minimum. All right, so I figure, that's not too bad. Because if it's an inch low, what we can do is just take some 1-inch bar, stack it, and just weld it on. Simple, right? So at 7 inches of ride height, 6 would be the minimum. 30 inches would be minimum front height. At 7 inches, it would have to be 31 to meet 30 at 6. Yeah, that works. So anyway, I built this front fender support bar bracket, whatever this thing is. I built that completely square to the front hoop and chassis. So it also looks like it needs to be a little bit wider. So if we stick a bar on top of it right here and just kind of extend it out for the fender, that would actually meet the fender height perfectly. So that's actually pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that. So there's at least one design idea taken off. So now we can mark that off the list. And that's a pretty simple fix. So when we get the roof off and we put the other one on, we can at least measure the roof height by, I might just take and hang like a string with a tennis ball or something on it, or maybe even like a nut or something, just something heavy to hold the string down, and measure it to like, I think the minimum roof height is 51 inches. So if we, should we set it to 6 inches and set it off of that? Or should we just make sure it hits the windshield and call it good? I don't know. We'll figure it out. I have started the process of removing the remainder of the body. I think I can get the whole roof off of it without taking the windshield out. However, I think I got to take the back window out to get the rest of it. So the only way we're going to move forward is by completely destructing everything. So I guess it's time to start removing. That was heavy. And I'm old. Hey, wait a minute. I was wondering where this went. That was underneath the body the whole time. Oh God, the wind is horrific. I better shut the damn door. But this went right here. Back when I had a different cowl piece on it here. And it would basically, like that, cover up these little master cylinders. Huh, that's cool. Yeah, and I definitely built this way too shallow when I first built the car, but that's okay. I can expand it or fix it. It's not a huge deal. But check it out, she's naked. I didn't take the tailpiece off because, well, I might just reuse it just because. By the way, if you think, well, that body needs that tailpiece to be complete, well, trust me, you don't. When I had my street stock this year, I used an MD3. I think it was a next-gen late model Camaro bumper. Holy crap, things are falling over. Anyway, it was not a Monte Carlo bumper. It's fine. So it's already here. It's already got a spoiler. It's already attached to the bumper. I'm going to clean this thing off with some brushes and some air blowers. And then we might go grab the roof, go slap it on here. So she's got a roof back on her. She actually looks proper, I'll be honest with you. This is the way this car should look, and I think it's gonna stay this way. I got this roof for free. Thanks, Pete, from B&H Racing Chassis. Appreciate that. He had this thing in his yard, and he's like, you want it? I'm trying to get rid of it. I'm like, I'll take anything, because I'm a hoarder, and guess what? I held on to it forever. Needs a good super clean wipe down, but I also am trying to scrape off this old wrap material that whoever had this roof before him was... they put a snake skin wrap on it. I mean, clever, but boy, does it suck to get off. I'll tell you what. Hey, got a little bit. All right, so I'm just going to keep peeling this thing and clean it up a little bit just so it's not so disgusting to handle. They also cut this rear quarter section really short, which I don't even know how the hell they got away with making it that short, because I thought we had rear overhang rules in most series around here, but that's okay. It's just going to be a patch piece, and we're going to just stick it back together. It'll be fine. This support here, I'm probably just going to hack off and move it to under this section right here to hold this up. And this little panel here, I'm probably just going to overlap over top of this, and that'll bridge that gap. Then I'll take these old quarter or fender wells, I should say, put them back in there, trim them up to whatever they need to be. And that should be set. It's not like I've never done this stuff before, but I'm going to waste my time and try getting this wrap material off, because that's definitely what needs to be happening right now instead of me building supports and, you know, actual constructive stuff. Well, sometimes you just got to do something that pleases you and aesthetic ways, I suppose, even if it doesn't look like it. It did get all of that wrap off. I grabbed a heat gun and a little putty knife or scraper, and it just peeled right off. Then again, it helps that the paint underneath it was really poorly sprayed on, so it just flaked right off. I still got a couple little sections to do. By the way, if you're going to do a body on a race car, don't use metal, actually steel. Don't use steel rivets. And especially if you're going to use those rivets, don't use a grinding wheel to get rid of them, because then you just destroy literally everything about a fiberglass body when you go to take them off. So thanks for that. But anyway, we made a lot of really good progress today. However, I am cold, and I'm not ready for this yet. It is only 34 degrees out. It is super windy. It's blowing into the damn garage. And I'm over it. So I got the roof on. I got her scraped off completely. That was a huge job. And I got the whole body taken off. And we're ready to start figuring out how to put it back together, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to leave this here for now. And I will be back with you guys tomorrow. All right, it's the next day. Since we got most of that ugly wrap off that I didn't feel like dealing with. And I also forgot that I left a bunch of leaves all over the car. It doesn't matter. Whatever. I'm going to work on trying to fasten the roof to the car. Now, there's a bunch of little things that we're going to have to do in order to get that correct. Namely, not only positioning and trying to get the thing square and straight, basically straight as in like side to side direction, but also positioning over the top of the cage and the car. I would like it to be as equal as possible. However, I know that's really difficult to do. This tin work is also going to need to be adjusted. I think I'm just going to grab a pair of pliers or duck bills or something and just hand flange it up or something until it's kind of decent. I don't know. We'll figure that out later. I don't really want to get rid of it because I kind of need it. We're also, in some point, going to have to create a new dash panel, which really stinks, but what are you going to do? You know, I got to get it to fit the windshield and figure out how to fasten the roof to the regular part of the chassis down here. Anyway, so it is what it is. Now, I do have the benefit of this thing being a two-piece roof, which is actually different than what I had before. I had a one-piece roof. Now, that being said, if this cage is put onto this car straight, this back hoop here should be equidistant on the chassis to each other down both sides, right? It should be in the same spot, and it should be square, right? So there's a flanged edge here underneath this roof that I'm just gonna take and kind of butt it up against the back of the hoop. See, kind of like that, right? Of course, I think this side needs to come, up a little bit, and the other side might need to get a little bit more adjusted as well. However, like I said, the main hoop, or A-pillar, I guess, in your car should be in the same spot on the chassis, and it should be square because I don't know, I guess it should be. But for builder's sake, I mean, it's just, it's going to be something pretty square. So I figured that's a great place to start, and it's also going to fit the body with this windshield post as well. Pretty nice if we get it close to here. So I think that's a good place to start. We're also going to make sure the back end is pretty close as well, but we'll figure that out later. And once we get this thing kind of positioned properly, I really would like to come back here and kind of cut one of these free and put it up underneath and just kind of brace it up. But we're going to have to figure out a bunch of different ways to fasten. Also, hey, since I'm here, a good tech tip: buy yourself a bucket. They're cheap. You can get them for like $5 or less. Harbor Freight, Home Depot, Lowe's, doesn't matter. Your local, like Menards type deal. Bring it around the car with you, and you can literally throw your garbage in that instead of walking over or having to bring your trash can with you. Literally, you've got a trash can right there. Take it over to your garbage can when you're done, like when I was peeling the wrap off. Dump her in, you're good to go. It is coming along pretty good here. I got this rudimentary body brace put in after knocking those other two out. That's holding it up pretty good. I moved to the front, knocked some of this old body stuff off just because it's not really pertinent. The bumper is not really going to work either. It's a little bit too bendy. So I'm going to have to cut it off, put a different one on it. Hopefully that'll work out. I don't want to change the radiator ducting because that would really be a pain. I bet you I could just like run a new bumper over top of it and just leave the lower ducting and just kind of run something like that, because I bet you it would work just fine, especially with this radiator, which is a leftover double pass that I had hanging around, and it worked just fine. It doesn't leak, so hey, it should be fine. The most important parts of getting a body on one of these cars is definitely starting from the top down. If you can get the roof in its proper height, then at least you got something to work off of, especially something like this that's prefabbed. It's not a factory roof. This is a fiberglass roof and quarter section. Of course, these quarters are supposed to come all the way back. Somebody else trimmed them off. That's not a big deal. We'll build a patch panel, like I said. But if you can get the roof at height, this is your first starting spot because everything else builds off of that. So once we get this roof on, which I'm going to have to continue tomorrow because I forgot how late I got home from work, and it's actually a lot later out than I thought. So we're going to work tomorrow on trying to get this kind of fastened in. I shouldn't have too many difficulties with it because there's an existing one that I put in a long time ago that really doesn't work. So I'm just going to take 1/2-inch tubing, just kind of bend it to shape the hood or the windshield, right? At least I got a windshield. I can go off of that, which is really good. But I pulled this out here like this, and you can actually get a little bit of that form that it's supposed to be. But I also don't want to build it quite yet. I really want to just put it on the ground and, I don't know, build a fixture or something to kind of tell me where the minimum roof height is. And if we can even get close to that, if we're like, I don't know, and at least within an inch, I don't want to have to space this roof up too much, but I think this one should be okay. It should be really close. So we'll get the roof height. It's on quick jacks, so at least putting it on the ground is really easy. I'm just going to have to find a way to measure from, what I think I did the last time was, I think I took a long piece of metal and like weighed it down, like one of these frame rail sections or something, and just stuck it on the roof and kind of put a level on it. And then I took a tape measure and just stuck it down through the middle of the car up to that point. And I think that's how I measured it before, but don't quote me on that one. So we'll probably end up doing that or something relatively similar. But that's going to have to wait till tomorrow. I'm going to go inside and relax and see you then. All right, next day. I'm just going to keep it kind of quick and simple today because I don't have a heck of a lot of time, and I apologize for that. But what we're going to do is we're going to put the car back on the ground. Then we're going to use those methods I just mentioned before I left yesterday to try to see if we can figure out what the roof height is. Then, if it's close enough, we'll probably just send it. If it needs a little adjusting here or there, we can figure it out. But let's see what we can do. So I did a very simplistic measurement. What I did was I took this angle finder and I stuck it on like a flat portion like this door bar or that frame rail just to see what it said. And it's like 1 degree or something like that. So I stuck this big square stock on the roof. I think it's a 1x1 square. And it says exactly the same amount on the degree wheel. So I'm like, all right. And it's actually pretty flat across the roof, right? Now the rule says 51 inches for roof height. It does not say where it's measured though. So I said, okay, well, as long as it meets 51 anywhere, it does not specify in the rule book where 51 is. I'm going to just kind of set it on there and hope for the best, right? So I'm measuring frame heights on here, and if we remember from before, it was about 1 inch high when we were measuring the front fender height, which is why we have to put another spacer up there just to get that right. However, this roof is on the cage. Like, I can't get a finger in here. See that? And it measures 53.25 inches. So if it was at frame height, it would be 52.25 inches. So it's about 1.25 inches high. But I can't do anything to lower this. So that being said, we're good. We can start putting this thing together. Roof height's fine. Let's just get it ready. it's a little bit later. Yes, it's not connected. I moved the roof back because I had to paint it. And by the way, yeah, I did kind of clean up the Lexan a little bit, and it doesn't look that bad. It's scratched, to be fair. The side windows came out awesome. The front windshield is completely passable in my mind. And I got this panel put in, and I even put some tin work in it. I know I didn't show it on camera, and it's black now, so it's very shiny, so it's almost invisible on a camera. But it's in. All we have to do now is kind of get to the side panels here. And we'll do that when the body goes on, because those will be your little side and crush panels and firewalls. Also, I have it up here so that I can finish cleaning the windshield as well. There is actually some protective... oh, goodness, I shouldn't have done that because there's all sorts of wet paint underneath. I didn't get any on me. But I'm going to peel this excess protective plastic off. Wait for this to kind of tack up a little bit and dry. Oh, there's some right there that I painted over. And we'll put the roof back into place because I don't want to keep scratching it anymore. I put a big scratch in it here and a little bit more here by rubbing it on the roof bar, but we'll get her back down and in place pretty quick. And I wish that I could really fully articulate to you how time-consuming it is to put that one little piece together. That little dashboard extension for the windshield was like the better part of 2 hours. And I genuinely wish that I had the tools and the time and the space, I guess, for all of that stuff. I probably could have gotten that done quicker. But when you're DIYing things like me, you're using mostly hand tools and intuition, which after years of huffing paint fumes, exhaust smoke, and getting hit in the head by your seat when crashing race cars constantly, you ain't got a lot left upstairs. And it gets a little difficult sometimes. But it's coming along. And yeah, it's that little panel there took me pretty much my entire night to do, which kind of stinks because I didn't have a lot of the night to do that. I only had a couple of hours, and that's sometimes all you can get when you're doing this stuff by yourself. And that's exactly what happened. And I really kind of wish that I could have gotten the body done in this video, but this is kind of a process. And that was an important step. Because in this video, we've gotten the roof height measured, we got the front fender height measured, we got the braces put in, we've got a plan. The plan is the most difficult part. Fabrication, as long as you measure things and have an idea of what you're doing, that's easy. Building body panels, that's easy. I just bend some sheet metal up. Putting them on the car, yeah, you got to figure out some bracing and stuff there. That's pretty easy. But figuring out the important stuff that actually matters in the rule book and making sure that the car is legal for you to hit the track, that's what matters. And we got that part done. So now that all the important stuff is done, we can start bolting crap to it. Except it's kind of time for me to finish tonight. But tomorrow, I hope to have the body, well, the roof fastened on. Maybe some of the crush panels in like the fender well area in the back kind of put in. Maybe we'll fasten the rear trunk lip to the body as well, because that'll just be a couple pop rivets and a trimmed piece that I already have attached to the car. And then maybe we can start sticking some body panels to it, because that would be fun. I don't have a lot of pop rivets, so it's going to be on pretty loose. And we do have to build a bumper for it, but we can start on the major parts. And I wouldn't mind getting this thing done quickly, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, next day, I'm going to focus on trying to get the little corner pieces done in the tin work around the edges here so that I can actually get started on hanging body panels. And that's really kind of where we need to be right now. Problem with that is that we're still going to have to keep building brackets so that we can hang the body panels. Now, what I can do is, you know, it's kind of funny. I actually have 2 complete sides to this very car when it was run last as a Monte Carlo. Now, I believe I borrowed those panels off of this car when I kind of stripped it for parts. I feel bad saying that, but that's kind of what we did. When I had the new chassis come, then I realized I had a whole garage full of spare parts that I literally then built this out of. So that being said, I still have the panels, and I was thinking about just kind of draping them on the side and seeing how they looked. Throw 2-3 rivets in it. I don't know. It's the same car, same wheelbase. I'm betting that the panels will fit right on the car. Might have to make some new brackets because that's all the old stuff, but if I leave it all bolted onto one piece, I could probably clamp it onto the tail section, put a bar up here, clamp it onto there, and you'd have a side on the car. So we'll have to get there when we get there. I got today to work on it. I don't know if I'm going to work on it tomorrow, but it's cold, and I'm trying to tough it out by not turning the heat on. And cold is very demotivating if you've ever worked in it. It sucks. I'd rather work in the stifling heat because at least then I can have a fan on. When it's cold, you can't. You're stuck here. So I'm looking over my options. We're going to start getting some tin work put in place. Just get rolling. Here's the basic gist of what we're doing here. Yeah, it doesn't quite fit perfectly, but it's less than a strip of duct tape, so that's all that really matters to me. Got her tucked up on the back here, never mind the hammers. Ran this edge up, tucked it in on the back. I kind of screwed up the cut just a hair on that corner, but it's not a huge deal. I mean, this is a street stock, not a cup car. Also got the trim panel to hook the back of the body lip in here, or the roof lip, I should say. Trunk panel, whatever you want to call it, kind of hook that in. There's no rivets in it. There's like 3 in the whole back piece right now. I'm just trying to get these panels cut to fit. They were the old panels from when I had the red body on it. I'm just kind of cutting them down, flanging them on the edge, and I'm just going to stick them in because these bodies are pretty straight. They don't have a lot of curve to them. Like I said, you look in here, it's really workable. I mean, let's see if I can even get a finger in there. Not even. So, I mean, that's going to be fine. It's going to keep rubber and hopefully anything else out. And it actually doesn't even look half bad. Spritz of paint, be fine. I'm going to work on the other side, and hopefully we can get that wrapped up. And this thing is actually starting to come together a little better than I was hoping. I was thinking I was going to have to make all new stuff and trim it and do all that. Luckily, I was able to use what I had. And with a little bit of work, we got her to be repurposed, and that's pretty good by my book. So the rear part of the body here has gone really kind of well, especially the interior stuff. I got some roof mounts put in. We got the whole back lip and tray area done. All of the crush panels are in. Look at that, huh? Now I got a special surprise for you. Longtime viewers of the channel will remember this because it was this car that it came off of. Give me a second here. Now, unfortunately, I seem to have folded the quarters in half. But it'll come right back out. Oh, I just creased it. It'll come out later. Huh? Look at that, huh? Here's the best part. Huh? It's the entire old body that came off of this car. We're going to see if we can get it back on. And I bet you we can. Little adjusting, obviously, but it'll be all right. We can get it on there. I just, I save everything. Like I said, I have everything. I'm a hoarder. You've seen it. You've known it. Now it really cements it, doesn't it? All right. let's get to work putting this thing together. Maybe I'll clamp it up, see if we can't get a little bit of an eyeball on it, build some filler panels. Body. Easy. Well, what do you think? It's actually coming out pretty well. I mean, the body line up here looks great. It actually follows. That's nice. Got a couple little fitment issues. Not a huge deal. Like, it's going to be a little tight, but we can get rivets on there. It's not too bad. It's over the wheel wells, and that's exactly where it needs to be. The base, or at least the bottom of the doors and stuff, are going to need a rocker panel just to cover up the ugly, but that's really cheap, or we can just make it out of sheet metal with a brake that I have outside. Doesn't really matter. We can get that later, or if somebody else purchases the car, they can worry about it. But it is coming together, and we are starting to see a shape. Yes, it is ugly. Yes, it is dirty. Yes, it is all of the above. Okay, I understand all of that. But like I said, you're not going to see the finished product look good until it's finished. Like with my other car, it looked ugly because it had just pieces of sheet metal and old roof and everything. And then when it got wrapped, boom, it's a race car and it looks amazing. So you got to kind of lay the canvas down before you can really finish the masterpiece. Part of that's going to be doing the front body braces and door braces as well. There's a section right here where there's a lot of gap. There's a lot of, this thing's coming off, by the way, but there's a lot of gap. There's a lot of, it's not really good, but we're going to have to start putting body braces on it in order to finish it. Now, we're also going to have to put a front fender or bumper on it. And we're also going to have to at least put finishing touches on a lot of stuff, but that's going to have to wait until later. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to come out here tomorrow to finish up a few odds and ends, and then in the next video, hopefully we'll have the body completely finished. That would be nice. I mean, like, front bumper, hood, nose and all. Like, I really want to get this thing done. This is really good progress. It really is, but we'll see what happens in the future. But I am pretty spent for tonight. I don't know, probably these shoes hurt my back, but we got to do a lot more planning and a lot more sheet metal work. And the sheet metal work is going to stink more than the body bracing is. But it is what it is. That's part of getting this thing put back together and figured out. And I'm literally starting from scratch. The only reason that this is actually starting to take shape now is experience and parts that I've already used. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, whether we're working or not. All right, guys, next day, I found a couple more hours to put a little bit more time in on this car, and I'm going to work on body braces, and that's kind of the not so fun part of this, but it's also the really necessary part of it as well. So what we're going to do is, well, at least a multiple tiered attack on this thing just to try to get a little bit more rigidity put back in the body. And I might even do a little bit more, well, tweaking. Now, I don't really like how this is sitting just based on the front fender. It's a little too far down for my taste. So what we're going to try here is, I'm actually thinking, that's interesting. I'm actually thinking of taking all the rivets out but that one, and then pulling it up so that the door flattens out, but it also picks the fender up in the back a little bit, right? I don't want it down this far. I want it up a hair. So I'm going to do that. We also have to tin this in somehow and, you know, kind of come up with some kind of a brace situation for this as well. This is an old brace that needs to come off. We're going to hack that off. And I have to come up with something else that we're going to do to try to make this thing work where it is. But I kind of want to get it in place first. And the look of it is kind of working for me, but at this point, I got to get it to just trim up a bit. And again, I'm using old stuff, but it'll work out once we get her tweaked a little bit to where we want it. Patch panel's in. Some kind of support is on there, and I welded the front support in. If we need to trim it at any time, that's not going to be a problem. And I'll be honest with you, it's starting to look a lot better because you don't have the big gaps. We'll figure something out to do with this, but like I said, we're dealing with used things. Used body panels are going to be fit to something else. Different car, different roof, different body, different everything. So at least we can fix that in the future. If I or somebody else decides to put a fresh body on this, they can cover these and build their own. But it's all here. It'll be fine. We can fix it. But right side is kind of on. Like I said, there's a lot to putting a body on a race car, but a lot of it is just kind of planning. Once you get that phase over with, then it's laying out all the groundwork, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. Tin work, braces, etc. When it really starts to look good is when you get to the final phase, which is just the finishing one. You know, it's where you cut and buff and polish, but on a race car, it's basically wipe the stuff off of it and send it out on the racetrack, and that's the best it's ever going to look. But, like I said, it's all a process, and this thing's coming along. Now, we haven't finished the left side yet, but that's rinse and repeat like I mentioned before. However, I am going to say that that's probably going to do it for this video because I got to get it edited. I have to finish a couple other things so that I can get this thing out to you in time. And I need a little extra time to do that. So thank you guys for watching and for supporting the channel by subscribing and telling your friends, and also by going to GleasonBrosRacing.com and going to the merch store. Now, again, I mentioned at the very beginning of the video that the sticker situation is the only thing that I've had an issue with my provider, I guess. My fulfiller, I guess you could call them. But I don't know why that is, and I'm trying to find ways to make it better. I don't know if we can totally fix it, but we can make it better because I want people to be able to, if they want to just get something cheap like a sticker, to have a good one that is actually legible and is the size that they advertise, which is kind of a, like I said in the earlier part of the video, it's really pissing me off that that's not right. So like 90% of the stuff is correct. That's the only issue I'm having. But we got great shirts available, tumblers, stickers, hats, koozies, different types of, I think I got a commemorative card for the Rookie of the Year title. And the shirts are great quality. You know, the tumbler's great. We got Christmas coming up. I got team shirts and novelty shirts and a whole bunch of logo stuff as well for the Gleason's Garage logo. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I greatly appreciate everybody who supports the channel through the store. And I will see you guys next time.